NC Continental Prime continues in Central Africa, where Gabon Army said on Saturday that it would reopen the country's borders, closed in the wake of the military coup that ousted ex-president Ali Bongo. A spokesperson for the Gabon military rulers said on state TV that they had decided with immediate effect to reopen the land, sea and air borders as of this Saturday. Now, a group of 12 Gabonese soldiers had announced on Wednesday that the country's borders were closed until further notice in a statement broadcast on the Gabon 24 television channel.
De préserver le respect de l'état de droit, les bonnes relations avec nos voisins et l'ensemble des États du monde, et afin de favoriser la continuité de l'État, tout en démontrant notre ferme volonté de tenir nos engagements internationaux. Le Comité pour la transition et la restauration des institutions, CTRI, décide avec effet immédiat de la réouverture des frontières terrestres, maritimes et aériennes à compter de ce samedi 2 septembre 2023.
Now, joining me to further discuss this is Bolu Michael-Biyi, former legal advisor to the African Union. Thank you so much for your time, Bolu. All right, Bolu, if you can hear me well, let's go ahead. It seems the coup in Gabon is tolling the same path with Niger, naming of a new leader and others. Are there differences, or do you think that what is happening in Gabon right now, in a way, is different from what we are seeing in Niger?
Yeah, I think it's kind of different. The coup in Niger and the one in Gabon, they're kind of different. Niger was about the perpetual subjugation of the country by France, and they wanted to see a change of relations and diplomatic interaction with France. They don't want France to have a stronghold on them any longer. But for Gabon, it's more about the electoral process, even though what we are seeing right now is that they're taking advantage of the situation to clamor for other things they've been yearning for over the years, which includes the French presence as well. So one thing that's similar to all of that coups, not just Niger, is that once they take over, the military takes over power, they close the borders. It happened in Guinea, Mali, Niger, and now Gabon as well. And now they have reopened the border. I think that the quick reopening of the border is to kind of bring some level of acceptance by allowing day-to-day, businesses, day-to-day interactions to go on normally, and let economic activities to thrive as normal. So that brings some subconscious level of some level of normalcy in the minds of the people, and to also allay fears from the international community that there's really nothing to worry about, and just to say that the people have kind of accepted the junta there.
All right, now let's talk about sanctions. So far, what we understand is that the African Union has actually suspended Gabon, unlike that of Niger, right? It's been quite some time, and one would have expected that probably other international bodies or maybe countries, sort of impose sanctions. What other sanctions or forms of sanctions should we expect against Gabon in the coming weeks?
Well, basically, sanctions are more economic in nature, and personally, I don't believe they really work, because over time, history has showed us that these countries that get sanctioned, they kind of develop what I would call a sanction tolerance, gotten from the word drug tolerance, whereby taking a particular drug and your body gets used to it, so that it has no effect again. And you have to take more to have a similar effect, which leads to drug abuse. So these countries develop sanction tolerance. Over time, they develop alternative means. It's also, well, for example, Russia, they've had all sorts of sanctions, but they are still standing strong. They're even stronger, they're arguably stronger now than they were before. They have developed coping mechanisms, and we saw that the Western world kind of add more and more and more sanctions. But you know, like we see over the years that these countries develop a tolerance for it, and it gives an opportunity for alternative countries like China and Russia to wade in and solidify their power. Some days ago, the Russian delegation arrived in Mali to pledge their support for the leader there, Traore. You know, and since these countries have alternatives, I don't see a need why they be sanctioned, especially from an institution whereby participating in them is rather voluntary.
Let's talk about the junta reopening the country's borders. Are they trying to say that, you know what, this is business as usual and just continue with their lives? What message do you think they are trying to pass to the international system?
Yeah, they're trying to say that the people have accepted the government in some way. Like there's really nothing for them to worry about. They can come in and do business as usual. That's exactly the message they're trying to pass across. That they've taken over government. They're not afraid of anybody coming in or leaving the country. They're not saying anything about the ambassadors of various countries. Just allowing things to go as normal, just to show that they are accepted by the people and that, you know, they've taken absolute control of the government. That's basically the message that I think they're trying to pass across.
All right, Bolu, before I let you go, how best do you think the AU and other African countries can help tackle, you know, situations like what we have in Gabon, Niger, you know, and other African countries that, you know, maybe might be planning to, you know, we don't have a reoccurrence of military taking over government? What can be done to actually nip this in the bud from the root cause?
Yeah, you know, it's a failure or the breakdown of the system of these countries. That's why they're having Coup. The judicial system is broken, the legislative system is a rubber stamp. So that's why they're having Coup, and the people are not happy because they're not reaping the dividends of democracy. The AU, to be fair, has tried over the years to encourage governments, especially in respecting of the term limits, but there's only so much they can do because these countries have they're sovereign in nature and they have the territorial integrity. So there's only so much they can do. More so, like I said earlier, it's voluntary to be part of the government, so part of the African Union and other regional bodies. You know, we saw Gambia leave the Commonwealth a couple of years ago. So it's not really compulsory for them to be a part of the African Union. So what the AU can do is to continue to encourage and also put pressure on governments to, you know, do their best for the people. How come we are only seeing this Coup in certain part of Africa? We don't see them often in the southern part of the country. And if you look at the southern part of the continent, and if you look at these countries like Botswana, like Namibia, and the rest of that, they're highly rated, you know, because the government they still to be working. They might not be perfect, but they're working. So that means that something is wrong with the western central part of Africa because they're not delivering the dividends of democracy. So the AU should try to encourage good governance by encouraging the leaders in these regions of Africa.
All right, thank you so much for your time, Bolu Michael-Biyi.
Thank you very much.